Welcome back to Project Ozone 3 in KAPPA mode, and just an update to what I've been doing between the episodes. First of all, I've got this little farm over here for all of our, we talked about this last episode, the chorus fruit. However, on the end here, you'll find I've got some ectoplasm, and I've got some more behind me. In fact, I can probably get rid of this one now. Ectoplasm is something you can't really get by drops from mobs without doing it a very, very specific way. So what you're going to need to do if you want to get some, at least to start you off, is to make a potion. So you want some water bottle, you want nether wart, you want spider eye, then redstone, gunpowder, and then fermented spider eye, which is just spider eye with a couple of other things. Go through that process in a regular brewing stand, and you end up with a splash potion of instant damage. It's up here. Yeah, splash potion of harming, sorry, with instant damage. When you're killing things, you're going to eventually see a little spirit cube popping up. And I'm not sure if I can demonstrate here, but I did this off camera, but if you once you've killed the Ender Dragon, there's about a 7% chance of this happening with pretty much any mob. So we just kill them all, and I'm just being unlucky. Clearly, let's just try these mobs. It's very distinctive when it actually pops up anyway. It's just not going to cooperate for me right now. No. Anyway, when it happens, keep that splash potion on you and throw it at the little cube that appears, and you'll get one piece of ectoplasm. Right-click a normal sapling with that, and you end up with a Spectre sapling, which you can just grow like this, and it starts giving you more and more ectoplasm, which is good. You can make ingots with that, which then lets you make a few things. One is a Spectre anchor. Okay, very, very useful. I've already applied it to my Shuriken. You just basically put it in a crafting window with your item that you want to actually soulbind, and that lets you do it for just the price of, 6 iron and 1 piece of ectoplasm. Very, very nice. And you can do that with multiple things. I've not gone through and done it with anything else yet. The other thing is this Spectre key. Now, this is simple enough to make as well. Spectre key. It's an extra dimensional space for you to use for whatever you like. Okay, Spectre key. Stable ender pearls we've already made before. Spectre ingots is palace. Mana infused ingots, which is straightforward. I think we've made those before, but you just get it from mithril, which is from crushed netherrack. And then ectoplasm, and that makes you Spectre key. And this is, apologies, but this is going to be quite bright because I've got night vision on. But if you right click and hold for 5 seconds or so, you'll see this teleportation effect, and you'll head across to your little dimension. And it is a very little dimension. If you've used, it's very, 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 very bright right now. But without night vision, it's actually more tolerable. It's still the same color, just a lot less bright. And if you want to expand this, I think you just feed ectoplasm into the Spectre core. I don't need it just yet, but when you expand it, it will expand upwards, I think, not outwards. So right now it's only too high. Apologies for the brightness. And that's an extra dimensional space you can go to wherever you want. And whenever you use your key, it'll go there. And when you use that Spectre core inside, it'll go back to wherever you were, not the initial location. I also created this portal to the void. It is nothing special. It is just void dimension. Which you may want to use for your own purposes. There's nothing in it, so there's no point in me actually showing you much about that on camera. Otherwise, the ectoplasm is going to be useful for making Spectre stuff. Are Spectre coils in actual range yet? I just want to check. Technically, yes, Spectre string, ectoplasm, mana infused string. Oh no, that needs Britannia. That's a shame. Okay, but mithril dust otherwise. Okay, fair enough. So a lot of that is actually available. We just need to get into Britannia, and Spectre coils are basically for transferring energy, and there's other ones as well for generating energy. I think you used to get them from dropping from mobs or dungeon chests. Sorry, yeah, and it's just a magic block that generates 120 hours per tick. And there's a Genesis version, but it's creative only, obviously, because it's infinite amounts of RF. So yeah, you probably just want to stick to the normal ones, of course. And there is a bunch of other stuff from Spectre, and it is all part of sort of random things mod. So take a look through. There are bits and pieces, but mainly I just did it for those 2 items. The Spectre anchor is the main one. I then crafted an item magnet because, hey, who doesn't want an item magnet? It's very, very cheap from Actually Editions. Nothing to that craft whatsoever, so I won't even show it. And I carried on through the armor quests. I've already got 246 rack now by working through here. I've got up to the Arctic armor quest. Here we are in this second high-tech workbench. That requires an infused lava crystal, which actually requires a block called a lava infuser. But again, it is very simple to make. You just put some lava in it, put your lava crystals in it, and hey presto, you're into the second tier of armor quests. However, the rest of them are one, more expensive. They take 51 blocks of whatever, 51 ingots of whatever it is instead of 24, like normal for normal armor for a full set. 51. And then when you get to tiers like this, it requires an Arctic hood. And an Arctic hood is something that you need to get Arctic fur for, which you find in Twilight Forest. So I went and did the sort of Yeti cave in Twilight Forest. All you do with it is basically hit it with a melee weapon until it's vulnerable. It'll start flailing its arms when it's vulnerable, and then just shoot it with your shuriken. There's nothing excessive there. But while I was there, I got a little bit of Arctic fur, not a lot, but from Winter Wolves, I think it drops off. So it's worthwhile just picking that up and then working again through the armor quests. Because they're just very much background stuff, I just want to let you know that I am working through them, but there is nothing excessively amazing about doing each tier. And you start to need to get into this bottom sort of very, very over the top tier before you get to good stuff. Dark steel armor? No, it's not called dark steel, it's called dark chestplate, maybe? Yeah, so is that a regular recipe? Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, so that needs dark matter and coming from Supremium. So yes, that's a little bit over the top. Although we might get some dark armor from mob drops. I haven't really set anything up there, so we could maybe get some from that process. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, on with the rest of the episode. Next up is plastic. And for plastic, we're going to need to make tree fluid extractors and at least one latex processing unit. We're also going to need... do I have an infinite water source? Yes, I do. Just one of these will actually do us. I don't need more than one. And yeah, let's get things set up and you'll see what I mean. To get plastic, we're first of all going to need the latex. So over here, I've just got 3 blocks of wood. They don't do anything other than space things out for me at the moment. And I've got a tree fluid extractor. Oh, wrong way around. It has to face inwards. Whoops. In fact, I need to make another one. 1 second. I just want 3 of them. There we go. 3 of them. Just made using machine frames, so that shouldn't be terribly much of a surprise. So face them inwards, okay. And I don't think they need any kind of power, which is good, because I'm not planning on giving them any, if possible. On the bottom of those, oh, hang on. Okay, I thought I'd placed that right. I obviously didn't. There we go. But I placed that right this time. There we go. Good. On the bottom of those, I'm going to actually just put some fluid down. And yes, I'm using fluid rather than translocators just because I don't think these are terribly fast, if I remember rightly. And do they auto output? Well, we'll soon see. Then we've got a block placer underneath. That block placer is going to need to be fired by a rare timer of some kind. This may force this to be a little bit less compact than I like, but we can just put a timer down. And we can just throw a whole bunch of wood in there, and eventually the timer will just trigger one. There it goes. And we can set this to something relatively long. Let's set it to like 100 seconds. Is that going to be enough? We'll set it to 100 seconds. So every 100 seconds, it's going to fire a tick, which is going to force a piece of wood to be placed. And you'll see that piece of wood is slowly getting broken. In here, we're going to get latex. Yes, that's exactly what we're getting. And we're going to actually bring that latex up and around and put it into a latex processing unit. I would have liked to have that had power underneath it, but it's just a block space issue as far as getting that around here. So hardened fluid duct around that way. And I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's just grab my crescent hammer. Okay. And then we just want some servos, I imagine. It's probably not going to actually work otherwise. So servos, one there. Always on. Same thing there, always on. And same thing on this side. Okay, so this thing should be getting latex. It is. And on the other side, I'm just going to throw water at it. Okay, that should provide it with water. Good. Another thing then it needs is the power, which of course is what I would have liked. Oh no, we could no, I can't. We need to. Can we actually get that out of another side? That would make me very happy if I could condense this. Can we actually pull that out of this side? That would make me extremely happy. The game's probably just going to say no. But can we actually do that? Will it let me? Yes, it will. Good. Okay, so I can just move the timer around. Yes, okay. Compact setups are nice. And let's just set this back to 20 seconds. 100 seconds, sorry. And then we can just feed in power to the bottom of this one. Okay. So it's now getting power, and it's converting that latex over into tiny dry rubber, which then gets needed to be compacted. So we're going to need a compactor of some kind, and that's okay because I've made a compactor, almost like I prepared for this thing. And I am going to use a translocator for that, so I'm just going to put the compactor down, and we should be good to go. Yeah, translocators, and 1, 2, and we're certainly not going to need the glowstone for this. That's going to work perfectly fine. That also does need some power, however, and that's where I need to actually feed this up the side. That's somewhat unavoidable. So I guess it didn't really matter at the end of the day anyway. Yeah, I mean, we could feed it out on top of this. That would make it nicer, I suppose, but I'm going to leave it all inside of one sort of 3x3 block space or 3x4 block space. From there, that's actually going to compact things into dry rubber, and all we need to do then is feed it into a smelter. And of course, we have smelters, so that's not a big deal. We're just going to put down block space again, put down our end chest, okay, and then we have 2 more translocators. So we have 1 there and 1 there, and you feed this way. Okay, so anything that's made will now go across to our smeltery. And from the smeltery, well, I say smeltery, I mean, what I actually mean is this array of smelters. And from there, we should be getting plastic in the system. Plastic, please. Plastic. We have got plastic in the system, so everything is now working, and it's working automatically, so I don't need to worry about that again. You probably will get overloaded with plastic over time. I've only put 1 stack of wood in there. It's not like I need huge amounts of it, so yeah, we'll come back to that later. You are going to want to make lots of alloy smelters as well. They are needed to make up the higher tiers of Ender IO alloy smelters, and those higher tiers, again, I need to get upgraded into the enhanced alloy smelter, which is used for certain recipes. So do just make sure you make at least 6, including the one you got placed. I've got 7 total, but make at least 6, I think, if I remember rightly. So we've got plastic sorter, which means I can sort a wither builder, and that's the more important point. The wither builder then essentially lets me build withers, as you might imagine, automatically, which is even better. So wither builders, you put them down, you put the ingredients in them, and it builds a wither on top. It builds either east, west, or north, south. I can never remember which. You normally need to move your cage around, whichever way around you actually want to do that. Is fine, and then you need some way of killing the wither, of course, as well, to get automatic nether stars. So, what are we options for that? I cannot remember. I think it's a Draconic Evolution one that's really nice, but I'm not sure whether we can actually make that yet. Draconic, let me take a look through. I think it's the mob grinder. Yeah, can we make a Draconium, I suppose? Draconic cores. Yes, no. Definitely no. We need tough alloy, which is easy enough, and we need mechanism stuff, and that means we need to get into mechanism. Okay, so metallurgic infuser it is. And what's the other one that you make things with? I can never remember what the name of it, but we'll figure that out. That leads into Nuclearcraft. Okay, steel casings, nuclear furnace. Nuclear furnace is an upgrade from an endist furnace, which we've already got. That seems easy enough. The steel casing, however, is the issue, because we need to get to Pneumaticraft. We need to make transistors. Dark steel is easy enough. Machine frame's easy enough. It's just transistors. They're made inside a pressure chamber, and that means we need to make pressure chamber walls. Basically, it's a big cube. It sort of is a multi-block structure, so you can make it various sizes. But you also need to then actually feed air pressure into it. So we need something to compress the air. So pressure chamber wall, pressure chamber glass to make it nice and see-through. You're going to need at least 1 valve, and you want 2 interfaces from memory. So that's something I need to make up. To make that, we're going to need advanced plating, which is easy. Compressed iron, which is less easy, but it's not actually terribly hard. You just have to do things manually at first. Let's get a whole bunch of iron, okay, and let's see if this all converts over. And we're going to need to make some TNT. TNT, sulfur, and signalum. Do I have enough to make one? And a lever. Okay, and a pool of water would do. Anywhere in the Twilight Forest is easy enough to do. My fluid cows now have radioactive water and mushroom stew. Off we go to the Twilight Forest. Okay, anywhere with shallow water should be enough to actually protect yourself from all of this. Make sure my magnet's off, and I'm just going to put down the TNT first. Okay, and put a lever on top, there. And then I'm just going to make sure there's lots and lots of iron near it, basically. And the explosion, although... Yep, the explosion should actually compress the iron, if I remember rightly. There we go. Let's go and see whether it has. Yeah, lots of it compressed iron. So that's the easy way to do it. There will be much, much easier ways to do it once you have Pneumaticraft set up. You just need to do this first. Right, back to the base it is, and over to making the pressure chamber. Now, to get the other component we need for the pressure chamber walls, you're going to have to head into Ender.io quite a bit. You're going to want to upgrade your simple alloy smelter to the regular one, and then work your way through the various quests. You can see mine started to head into various directions, like the regular machine chassis instead of the simple one, and indeed even further into the enhanced sort of tier of stuff. So there's the regular alloy smelter, which I've made 2 of. That needs the 6 simple alloy smelters that I made. I think I put them on earlier in the episode. Hopefully I did. But you need 6 of the simple ones. And then you need to go even further with that into the enhanced ones. Now, the enhanced ones are the ones that give you the most trouble. I'll show you why. The enhanced alloy smelter needs the simple one. The simple one is just 3 of those and some bimetal gears. That's some bits and pieces you've probably made before. Vibrant, energetic, and this energetic silver, which is just electrum, glowstone, electrotine. All cool, all straightforward. When you get to here, well, even in the alloy smelter, the regular one, you need this industrial dye blend, and that's just cactus green, really, and bits and pieces, so again, no problem there. But when you get to this enhanced one, it needs an enhanced machine chassis, and that's the one that's a little bit more difficult to make. First of all, there's N steel, and that is not too hard to make there. That's about 10 N steel total. You need some N steel bars, etc. Do I have enough for that yet? I do have enough for that. Okay, so I'll just put those back in. And then we just need the, it's missing one more N steel, I think. How do I have that? Let's just actually see if I can make that on camera. I do have that. I've got them cooking up. So let's just dump them in the system. And then we can just say, hey, make me one of these, please. Okay, yep. There we go. So we have an N steel chassis. Easy enough. I'm just going to put it in here so it doesn't try and put it in the storage drawer system. And then you're going to need the other thing. The other thing is where you need to get some dimetine going again. It's this grains of piezoality. They each get converted from a 1 pulsating crystal. And because I need to do 2 of these things, I want 2 of these enhanced alloy smelters. One is going to be needed to upgrade to the the alloy furnace, which is the only thing that can make the pressure chamber walls extreme alloy, this thing. There's no other recipe for it. So I'm going to need at least 1 here to be upgraded, and I'm going to want 1 myself. So having 2 of these things is actually pretty appropriate. And that means that I need to have 8 of these pulsating crystals, and these are the things we made before, earlier, to using the soul binder, but you need 8 of them. So I went through and made 8 of the empowered ones, and now I'm just waiting for basically the pulsating iron, which is just iron and a ender pearl, to be smelted up in our alloy smelter into enough of these things that I can actually use it. In fact, 13, is that enough for... No, I'm going to need like 16 for 1 of these upgrades. So yeah, I need to wait a little bit longer. There we go, pulsating iron, yes, more quests. And some more N steel has been on production as well, because I may need more in the future. Anyway, also then you have to make a sag mill. Now, sag mills, again, very simple, very easy, and the equivalent of pretty much the pulverizer. But that's because in here, this thing that you're going to make, this thing, the only way to get the grains of piezoality is either through the manufacturer, which I don't have, and that is an upgrade from the pulverizer, well, a side grade from the pulverizer, I suppose, with enderium and machine chassis and stuff, or just to make a sag mill. And the sag mill It can be made with a simple sag mill, and that is actually pretty cheap. So simple sag mill it is, and we need to make some of those pulsating crystals and crunch them. You need 4 of the grains because they make 4 of the dye blend. So yeah, you don't need 8 of them. So that saves you a little bit of resources. And from there, we should be able to craft the enhanced dye blend, and then we get the end steel chassis, and then we're just going to combine both of those in an alloy smelter. That's probably still making some organic black dye. Let's get rid of that for the moment. And 1 and 2, and that should make me a enhanced machine frame. And everything else is just regular kind of upgrades. So hopefully that is going to be straightforward there. Give me in a second. There we go. 1 enhanced machine frame. And then that should make an enhanced alloy smelter. He says. He hopes. Yep. 1 enhanced alloy smelter. That should probably give us a quest for that. I mean, you really should, because it's painful to make. And the alloy furnace is the next step. So that needs other bits and pieces. I'm just wondering how much of that we actually have. Let's just quickly test it. So enhanced alloy smelter, no. Alloy furnace, there we go. How much of this do we actually have? Everything but the important bits. Okay, emerald furnaces, steel frame, and copper solenoid. 1 second. With the alloy furnace now made, a lot of our alloying that we used to have to use the smeltery for is now actually much easier. In particular, we no longer have to put the smeltery to make the ferroboron, the lithium combination to make tough alloy, is it? And then hard carbon and other stuff like that. We can just use this machine straight away, and that's going to do perfectly well and have a lot of power. It isn't terribly fast by default, but you can change that if you're willing to actually spend the resources, and it's not actually too much of an issue. Speed. Oh, I wish this was linked to JEI in the same way that E2 is. This would make it much easier. And also, if that is selected and you select this, it doesn't deselect this one, so you have to deselect it and then. Anyway, ignore that for now. Speed upgrade. We want these, which is just some bits and pieces, some weighted pressure plates. So I'm going to want, let's just try 8 speed upgrades. It's probably going to have a huge power draw, unfortunately, but hey, you know, we can fix that as well. Okay, so 8 speed upgrades, and let's just see, can be stacked linearly with each additional upgrade, while power use will increase quadratically. So yes, it will be quite the upgrade. Energy upgrade presumably is the other one, so energy upgrade. And shift, so can be stacked, so decrease linearly with each additional upgrade. Okay, so it's not quite as good, but it's still fine. We want some crushed quartz and some pulverized obsidian, some weighted pressure plates, but we want the gold ones now. So let's just get 8 of those. I could just push the button that says 8 on it. Never mind. And crushed quartz, and we need to probably insert here because it doesn't exactly like the substitution thing, this particular mod, but that's okay. And do I have crushed obsidian? Well, I have enough for a few of them, so let's just dump these energy upgrades in here. Okay, let's also dump speed upgrades in here. And now that's actually pretty fast, but it's using up the energy faster than it can actually replenish it. So fine, extreme alloy it is. That's what we needed, I think. Pressure chamber walls, yes, extreme alloy. And we're going to need probably 3 batches of this stuff. So I've made 12 of this combination. Hopefully it should make it before the energy runs out. How is our batteries doing? Is it draining all the batteries? No, it's probably just limited by the hardened flux duct. It can only handle 4,000 RF per tick. So yeah, it's needing to be replenished. But that's fine if it actually goes through a batch of stuff and then comes back. Yeah, there it goes. So no big deal there. All right, so then we have enough of the pressure chamber walls. We just need some advanced plating. Do I have enough of this left? Oh, I'm going to need some more tough alloy. Yes. How much lithium do I have? Not a great deal. How much ferroboron do I have? Again, not a great deal. So I'm going to want to just crunch this up and double it. So we'll just put it in our regular furnaces if they've finished with the stuff. Yep. And with lithium and the ferroboron, we now no longer need the smeltery, of course. We can just grab them like this and dump them back in our favorite little alloy furnace, which I like a lot. There goes our power requirements again, though. But I only need a few of these, so that's perfectly fine. And I don't think I need to use ferroboron for anything else but tough alloy, so I will have to find more boron if I'm going to do that in the future. All right, so one of you will do for demonstration purposes, and then we just make the pressure chamber walls. Cool. So now we need to select a place for our sort of pressure chamber area. I'm reserving this place from Botania. Plants growing, I'll probably improve a little bit in the next episode. So I'm sort of out of places to put this for the moment. I guess we can put it here. That would actually do fine, I think. Yeah, let's put it down here. So you can make this 3x3, 5x5, or 7x7, maybe even larger. However, 5x5 is sort of a standard size that I used to use with extreme reactors, or as it used to be called, big reactors. So having that kind of size thing is very useful. Let's put that there. And we're going to build this into a cage. So 16 on the bottom, 16 on the top, and then 12 on the stalks that actually stick up in the middle. So I'm going to need 3 batches of this in total. And then you're also going to need the pressure chamber glass. And that's going to need more of the advanced plating instead, which is going to need the tough alloy. So yeah, you're going to need to watch out for your requirements. Don't make too much of this stuff. In fact, I'm probably going to need, I may even need 4 batches. That's annoying. Yeah, it's going to be one short, I think. Okay, but I will get it done, and you know, have to go and get some ores if necessary. But once that's done, I'll bring you back for the completion. You're going to need 2 of the 2 of the interfaces, 1 of the valves. The valves is to take in the pressurized air. The interfaces are to feed stuff in and bring stuff out. Okay, and some of the pipes as well. You make the pipes, these pressure tubes. You're going to need that to obviously transport the air. So get a few bits and pieces done, and I'll bring you back for the final construction. So our pressure chamber glass is in, our chamber is complete, and I definitely want some kind of light block up here. Thank you very much. What? Yep, there we go. So light block up here, that's perfectly fine. And then we've got our basically 2 blocks here. You want to make sure that one says I for input on the outside, the other one says O for output, again, on the outside. So make sure you have them that way around. And then on the back, you have the valve, and the valve is where we're just going to feed some pressure tube. Pressure tube this way. And here we have an air compressor. So that will compress up to 5 bar, which is good. And you can then have always on, or you can shut it off. I think we can just attach this pressure gauge tube module here so we can see what this is. Now, it can emit a redstone signal, and that redstone signal you can use to shut things off. I think there's like a safety valve. I want to say something like a safety valve. Let me just try and find it. No, it's a use of this pressure tube, I'm almost certain. So, safety tube module, there we go. So, this module will release high pressure air when the given threshold is reached. Although it prevents explosions, released air counts as energy loss. So that's 7.5 minus redstone times 0.5. So whatever the redstone signal is, half it and then take it away from 7.5. So if you want to make sure everything is safe, you really sort of want a redstone signal of about 6. So that gets 3. So you end up with 4.5 as the actual safety limit. And then we also have this module, the pressure gauge tube. And if you look at that one, it says 2 times the pressure bar is what it's going to emit. So if it's 4.5, then you're going to get 8.5. So that's not exactly what we want. We're going to have to modify that a little bit in future. However, we can keep an eye on it for now. We don't want it to go above 5, of course, at least not with the current setup. And you can just throw coal in here to actually start it to do stuff. So, oops, into there. So no problems, pressure, etc. And that should start rising. It may well be slow at first, though. So you may want more of these compressors, and we'll deal with that later. Anyway, we've now got a setup capable of, I think it's capable, I don't remember anything else in here. We need to put some crates on the input and output, and then figure out how to get this nicely set up. Of course, what we're aiming for is the transistor. So this should work. It's one of the simplest setups I can think of. I've got 3 air compressors here just to get this going a little bit faster. We can look at upgrades to make this faster as well. In fact, we can see here what upgrades that they will take. There is this one here which has a security upgrade we can set and put it in there, which will act like this safety valve. So if you want to put them in the air compressors, you can. Otherwise, you know, everything else, that's perfectly fine. And, you know, decide what you want to do there. However, for the moment, we can just leave it out because these are just continually going to produce air. They'll take coal and etc. We can get more coal easily enough. Next to it, we've got the potentiometer from Draconic Evolution. Very simple recipe, cheap enough to make right now. And you can set it by right-clicking and left-clicking. It's right now set to 6. So I can set it to 7. And actually, I may have to bring it all the way around. Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, at 6, you can see this is now set to threshold of 4.5 bar. So as soon as it reaches 4.5, it's going to unlock and basically let air out of the system. And you heard it actually happen when I actually increased it all the way around to 0 or 1 or something like that, because it were already at that pressure. So you see the pressure is building now, and it should be nice and safe without me having to do anything else. I hope a lot. Okay, so that's that done. We've got now a system which you can see is actually gaining pressure in there. So we need to get stuff into this and out of it quite nicely, and that's the next step. So the first and easiest block to actually make in this is going to be the compressed iron. However, we're going to need actually some of the compressed iron anyway. Not that I'm short of compressed iron, but it is the easiest one to demonstrate. So what happens is, I've got some translators obviously. If I put some, let's say some 1 piece of iron in here, it immediately gets pulled in and the airlock closes. It opens, it goes inside, it gets pulled out and gets put into here. That's no good. It needs to stay in there until it's changed. So in this case, what we need to do is set a filter up, if I remember rightly, so that it won't actually pull anything out unless it's actually compressed iron already. So that's one of the item filters. Let's see if that actually works now. It should just stay in there if it actually works. Okay, in it goes. And it's staying in there. That's exactly what we want. So that's going to stay in there. And compressed iron is, let's just find that recipe. Where are you? Compressed iron recipe. Explosion crafting. No, we now want the more refined version. So we need 2 bars up to 5 bars. Anywhere in that range should do us. And yeah, 1-to-1 conversion. So good all around. We will get a more advanced version later. I think it needs vortex tubes, if I remember rightly. Vortex tubes. Vortex tubes. Sneak for info. Splits incoming air into hot and cold components. One side will be heated, the other cooled. Its air usage will depend on the pressure. Yeah, I never had to use those, so I need to actually go and research that anyway. But this gets us started, at least initially, and we're up to 0.7 bar, so it won't take terribly much time for it to actually get to the right pressure. From the right pressure, we're then going to be able to do stuff. Now, let's go to transistors. They're going to need more steps, but we need to have Pneumaticraft running for us to get any further steps. These are easy enough. Obviously, compressed iron, red alloy ingot. Black plastic, we're going to need a plastic mixer. And that is compressed iron and glass, so that's easy enough. You basically need liquid plastic, however, for that. And of course, yeah, we need to get that from somewhere. How are we going to get liquid plastic? It may just actually melt down just regular plastic. Yeah, it melts it, so that's fine. We don't need to worry about it, but we will have to feed in rose red, cactus green, and lapis. Those last two are going to be straightforward. Rose red, we don't have a renewable source yet, but we could get that done that way. We shouldn't need that much of this, at least initially, but longer term we may do. So yes, that black plastic is presumably just going to need all 3 of these selected to get the actual right color out of it. Anyway, the main thing in here is the transistor, this other transistor type, and this is where things get a little bit resource intensive, at least for Pneumaticraft. Other things will become much more resource intensive later, but for now, this energized capacitor is the issue. We've got an empower recipe, fair enough, and so we need to pull stuff out of the empower to get this to be automated and set it up something. So I may create a separate platform for this. We've got the energetic silver capacitor, so 2 of those make 1 of these, and we need 2 of these, do we? Where are we? 1 of those make 8 of these. Okay, so, however, it goes back. So we need more vivid alloy ingot, more capacitor types back into silver capacitors. So we're going to need silver and lead, which is easy enough, and a lot of these grainy capacitors. So we're going to need a whole bunch of red alloy ingots and a whole bunch of basically empowerer work. So yeah, but at least we've got the chamber ready, and it should be it should be safe effectively. What are we up to? 0.9 bar. However, this will keep on producing air even with that valve open. So you've got to be a little bit careful, I guess, about doing this. They don't currently switch on and off. And I guess that's what we may want to actually use the security upgrade for. We could set up maybe more of these, and maybe they'll respond. We'll see. Okay, so I will see in a minute. I'm going to do some more Empower stuff and get ready for the transistors. Or I would if we weren't out of time. That's a quick half an hour of stuff. So yes, we now have Pneumaticraft up and running, and we are ready to actually get onto transistors next episode and get into that sort of thing to then use the transistors in other recipes. One of the things it's used for is this printed circuit board, which we're going to need for lots of things. And the one I was thinking of is just not coming to my mind right now. Yes, it is. The ME controller. So you're going to need at least those for the ME controller. There's other bits and pieces going to need as well, but certainly the ME controller. And yes, there are more than one use for this. They need it for all the crafting terminals, and more importantly, they need for this steel casing, which gets us into mechanism, which gets us to the rest of the stuff we've been working on in the episode. So yes, I have made the wither builder now. I do also need to get to the mob grinder. Yep, the Draconic Evolution one, and that's going to need us to get through that mechanism stuff and more of this tough alloy. So we need to find more of that boron, more of the lithium, and we should be good to go. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you get everything set up as far as this setup is concerned. And if you've got any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'm more than happy to either cover them in the next video or indeed via text, etc., depending on what you guys have problems with. Otherwise, click on the like button if you've enjoyed it. Click on the subscribe button and the bell if you want to get more notifications for more of these episodes. And we'll see you next time for some more Project Ozone 3 KAPPA mode. As always, guys, thanks for watching.